federal government.
Don't give up.
Brand new numbers on inflation. CNN chief business correspondent Christine Romans joins us now. Romans.
As expected, a big number, 8.5%, the inflation rate over the past year. That is a big number. It is as expected, and it is the hottest inflation since 1982. That's sort of a broken record there, and you know what it all is. It is gas, it is shelter, it is food. These are three things that people really can't do without, right? So this is why you have so many people souring on the U.S. economy, consumers rather, because they're feeling this inflation all the time. Month-on-month increase, I like to look at this number because it tells you incrementally where you're going. That was up 1.2%. Really rare to see a big pop just in 1 month like this. I want to say, though, this is until the end of March. And as you've been reporting and we've been reporting, oil prices and gas prices have been coming down. So in a way, this consumer price number is looking in the rearview mirror. There are some economists who are hoping this is the peak, this is the worst of it, and things begin to moderate into the summer. As you know, the White House is releasing a million barrels per day of oil. Our allies are pushing oil from their strategic stockpiles too. So there's a lot of things they're trying to do to ease the oil part of it. But when you look at the sectors, it is gas, it is shelter, it is food, it is used cars. These are numbers that year over year have had big increases in prices. And that continues again here in the
month of March. So this is why people think that we haven't created jobs. This is why people think wages haven't risen 5.6%, which they have. This is why people don't understand that the economy is, growing faster than it had under the previous regime. It's because, the prices of things are through the roof, and they are. But, it's global. This isn't happening just in America. It isn't happening just in your state or your city or your neighborhood or your burb. It's happening around the globe. Why is it happening around the globe? Because the globe is still dealing with COVID. The globe still has a supply chain issue. The America First people did not do America First. In fact, the America First people did nothing to secure any energy independence for the United States of America. And they didn't do one thing to bring down the price of rent. You had a real estate guy in the White House, okay? They didn't do anything on the housing issue. They didn't do anything on the food supply. They didn't do jack. They did nothing, right? And so then when we got COVID, you add to, the profiteering that went on, the mass amount of, profiteering that went on in the oil industry and the housing sector and now you say, and there's going to be some issues with supply chains getting cheap crap to Americans because you have COVID that's keeping people off the job. You have COVID that's keeping truckers sidelined, or you have truckers quitting because they have COVID or because they don't, see loads coming, right? They can't function, or diesel is too high, or whatever the issue is. Well, you know that we still have COVID in China, right? I don't know if you saw what's going on in Shanghai, but this is freakishly authoritarian. And you know what's crazy about inflation? Inflation, when people, I went to the grocery store. Yes, my grocery bill was about 20% more than it normally is. It was. And it's on stupid things, like produce. It makes you want to just grow your own, except I'm in freaking Florida. And the only thing I can grow here is the flowers that make high C, passion flowers, right? But they choke out everything in the garden. But you just sweat at the checkout counter. You just sweat there as they start adding it up. The price of meat it's crazy. The price of produce it's back crap. The price of everything, gas. You fill up your car. If you have a 15-gallon gas tank, you're talking like $75. I get it. I understand it. But that does not mean that the economy isn't adding jobs. It doesn't mean we're not at full employment. We are. It doesn't mean that, the wage increases that have happened haven't happened. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that we are in the middle of a global pandemic still to this minute, even though here in the United States, listen, I will tell you, the death rate in red states, 38% higher than it is in blue states, because in red states you have much more distrust of science, much more distrust of the government in general. And so people are dying with much more frequency in red states than they are in blue states. But that doesn't help us as a United States when you have, half of the states still sick or still suffering or still, contagious or still passing it around. It doesn't help. It doesn't help anybody, do anything better. So that's going on now over in China, where they're all authoritarian about it. See, and this is the crazy part. So people are going to get really upset about inflation, or they already are. And then come the midterms, they're going to say it's the Democrats' fault, even though this is happening all around the globe. It's happening in the UK. It's happening in, Japan even is starting to see inflation. It's happening all over the world, all over the world. But people are going to say, just like Marine Le Pen, I was trying to explain this yesterday, she's out there, pretending that French inflation is unique to France. The same way Republicans here are going to say American inflation is unique to America, and it's all garbage, and garbage in, garbage out. Well, if garbage in, garbage out is exactly what we're going to get, that means we're going to get a garbagey, Congress. We're going to get a bunch of Republicans in the Congress, in the House and in the Senate, who will do absolutely nothing again for anybody except the very well-connected and the elite, the rich, right? That's all they care about. You think that they're going to do anything about energy or shelter or the cost of rent? Or listen, what the elite on the Republican side of things are doing about shelter and the cost of housing? The hedge funds are going out and purchasing massive amounts of starter homes, to the point where if somebody is, building a development of starter homes, like in the 300s or something like this. So you have these Wall Street firms going in and they're buying all of them so that you can't even, participate, because they're doing all cash up front. And your starter home, I doubt you have all cash, right? So you can't even get into that market. And then what they're doing is turning around and renting these houses. Now, we could fight that by zoning a little different. There are lots of solutions to them doing that. You could say that you can't rent for the first 3 years of ownership, or you can't rent for the first 5 years of ownership. You can do things. There are things that we could do, and Democrats will do it, but Republicans won't. They won't, and that is the American dream, and they're tainting it. They're literally, going to do it again, and tell you it's, pee on you, and tell you it's raining. It's manna from heaven, when all it is pee. So the same thing with this inflation thing, right? They're going to tell you that this is an American phenomenon. It isn't. It isn't. But authoritarian governments, do you know what they're doing about COVID? I'm going to show you. It should scare you.